Hello everyone, today I am going to talk about the poem The Olive Tree. This poem is written by Mark O'Connor. He was born in 1945. He is an Australian poet. He is a very famous environmentalist as well as known as the nature poet. So in all his poems, he talks about the nature and about all the aspects of nature around us. The olive tree, the poem, as the title suggests us, is about the olive trees. And he tells us about the various qualities of the olives and about the symbolic significance of this tree in the poem, The Olive Tree. So let's get started with the poem. First, I'm going to recite it. Listen carefully so that you will be able to understand the meaning out of it. The olive tree. Nobody knows how long it takes to kill an olive. Drought, aches, fire are admitted failures. Hack one down, grub out a ton of main root for fuel, and next spring every side root sends up shoots. A great frost can leave the trees leafless for years. They revive. Invading armies will fell them. They return through the burnt out ribs of siege machines. Only the patient goat, nibbling his way down the edges, has malice to master the olive. Sometimes, they say, a man finds a dead orchard, fired and goat cropped centuries back. He settles and fences, the stumps revive. His grandchildren's family prosper by the arduous oil pressing trade. Then war and disease wash over. Goats return, the olives go under, waiting another age. Their shade still lies where Socrates disputed. Gethsemane's withered groves are bearing yet. So this is the whole poem. This poem has 17 lines. First stanza has 7 lines. In second stanza we have 8 lines, and last stanza has only 2 lines in it. And this poem he has written in a narrative style where he is directly talking to us and telling us about the qualities of olive. In first stanza he tells us about how we can kill an olive, how we can try to kill it actually, but we won't be successful. So what he says, nobody knows how long it takes to kill an olive. So he is very clearly telling us that nobody knows. No one ever has been able to kill an olive tree. You try everything, you can try each and everything, but you will never be successful. All your tricks, they will be just a failure. Drought, aches, fire, they are admitted failures. All these things, drought, aches, whether you want to cut it out, grub it out, grab all those shoots out, but yet another season you will see all those side shoots, they will be growing up again. A great frost can leave the trees leafless for years. Even a great frost, it does have some capacity to destroy it, but still a great frost can leave the trees leafless for years. It can leave it leafless for years, but still you will see that somehow whenever the conditions will be appropriate, the olive tree would start to grow. It will revive once again. Invading armies will fail them. Even the invading armies, if you march all the armies over the garden, over the orchard of the trees, but still you will find that after many, many years, those olive trees, they would be reviving themselves. They return through the burnt out ribs of siege machine. They return. They means olives, olive trees. They return. They revive once again. They have this capability of surviving and reviving, and they have this resilience of again and again coming out of all those situations. And at last what you can see is that they return through the burnt out ribs of siege machine. Means all those machineries and all that junk which has been left behind, and still olive tree can creep out through all those things, and you will see those olive trees once again growing, prospering. And this is the first stanza of the poem, through which we come to know all the tricks with which we can try to kill an olive, but we will never be successful in it. So it also gives us this message of nature's resilience, nature's power of healing itself, reviving itself, whatever may be the condition, drought or any human-made conditions to destroy it, but still they have this capacity of reviving. They have this strong-willed capacity that they will come back again and revive themselves, and through them, it is only the human beings, they are also going to be prosperous. In the second stanza, only the patient goat, nibbling his way down the edges, has malice to master the olive. Now what he says, how he starts his second stanza, he says only the goats, only they have this capacity of, they have this malice, they have this wish to destroy all these olives, and they are capable of making them go under for many ages. They are not able to revive after that nibbling and eating of all those shoots by the goats. Only they can achieve to some extent that success in killing olives, but yet after ages and ages, 2 or 3 ages, what we will see, again those olive trees would come out of that dormancy, and again we would see them reviving themselves. And the story goes like that, sometimes they say a man finds a dead orchard. So it's a story that sometimes back a man found a dead orchard. It was an orchard of olive trees. So he thought of settling over there. He fenced it. He tried to revive it. And later on, soon, all those olive trees, they revived themselves. They grew back. And now even his grandchildren, they are getting prosperous. They are living happily and and living a prosperous life because of their trade of olive oil pressing. Means they are very rich and prosperous now. So it again, the olive tree becomes that symbol. It has been a traditional symbol actually. Olive tree is a traditional symbol of prosperity, sustainability and peace. So again and again, he is trying to tell us that however, in no matter we are trying to hurt nature, we are trying to kill this olive tree, but yet it tries to become that nurturer. He becomes nurturer. Nature becomes nurturer here. Even though after all the negative activities of human beings trying to cut it down, or because of all those wars and because of that nibbling of goats, but yet what happens? It grows back, it bears fruits, and through those fruits, human beings nurture themselves. Human beings, they prosper, they become prosperous, and they live a happy life. So this nature as well as the life of a human being, it is intermingling. It is always intermingling. We are interdependent. So nature is always providing us. And what he says again, then wars and disease wash over. So it's a kind of cycle. A man came, he saw that orchard, he revived it, and they lived happily. But again, time changed, again war and disease came in. So this death and birth again, they are kind of a cycle. It's a cycle, it keeps on going. After death, there is always that revival, that birth will be there, and everything will rejuvenate once again. Then wars and disease wash over, goats return, the olives go under, waiting another age. So this is the story of olive for various ages. From the very past ages, we have seen that olives keep on getting killed. We try to kill them, we try to destroy them, yet nature try to sustain itself. And however or whatever may be the condition, whenever they find this opportunity to sustain themselves, they would revive it. And so goats, they return, the olives go under, and right now they are going under. Again, they are going inside the soil and waiting another age, and they would wait there. They are waiting there, and whenever condition would be appropriate, we will see them growing back again. So last stanza is, their shade still lies where Socrates disputed. Their shade, there again is olive trees, that their shade is still there at the place where Socrates gave its philosophy, where he gave his lectures. Socrates, he is an Athenian philosopher of 5th century BC, and what poet is trying to say that from that past, from the 5th century BC or even before that, those olive trees were there and they still are there. Gethsemane's withered groves are bearing yet. Gethsemane is the name of the garden which is in East Jerusalem. We know Jerusalem is the birthplace of Jesus Christ, and Gethsemane was that garden where Jesus Christ lived for some time and he was then arrested. And this is the story of Jesus Christ. So again, the reference is about the longevity of these olive trees, that they have been there for such a long period, from the times of Jesus Christ or from the times of Socrates, and yet they are bearing fruit. They were giving the shade at that time. They were there during that time, as well as till now we can see them there, and it is the proof of their sustainability. For so many ages they have been there, but yet we can see them still intact. They still are there, giving us, providing us. So this is the message we get out of the olive tree. This is a poem written by Mark O'Connor, and the theme here is about the sustainability of nature, that how nature becomes a nurturer. And it also gives us a message that we can take some inspiration from olive tree. In what sense? Like the olive tree, however we might try to kill it, try to destroy it, try to hurt it, but yet it has that power, willpower, to grow back again. So same is the willpower of a human being, or we should also have the same willpower, however difficult the situation might be. But yet we should have that confidence, we should have that power, we should have that will to come back again from our failures, from that situation which might not be good for us right now, but we will try to change it. We will try to get out of that situation and be happy and be prosperous. So this is the message which comes out of this poem, The Olive Tree. So olive tree itself is a symbol of peace, prosperity and sustainability. And this is the message through this poem he is trying to give us, that we should learn from the olives, we should learn from them, so that we can also live that peaceful life. Even that olive branch also has that significance. We can see it as a symbol of peace, or ending the conflict. And there is always this hope which comes out from the poem, that whatever might be the situation, but yet at last it is only the peace which will sustain forever. So this is all about the poem. Thank you very much.